Welcome, Star Wars Unlimited enthusiasts, to round 1 of February 5th's Star Wars Unlimited Locals Night over at Valkyrie Vault in Brownsburg, Indiana. If you guys are looking for a place to come play some Star Wars Unlimited, check out Valkyrie Vault in Brownsburg, Indiana, Thursday nights, 6 p.m., $5 entry. And for you all today, not only do I have 2 very fun decks, we got 2 showcase leaders! Yes, we got Vader JTL Yellow against Thrawn JTL Red. So we got a couple of JTL leaders going up against each other. And a couple of really fun JTL leaders, one of which I think has some very good potential in the upcoming Lawless Time meta. Of course, when we rotate out sets 1, 2, and 3. But before we jump into game number 1, let's discuss the 2 decks. Vader JTL Yellow is just straight TIE Swarm. Vader on his front side states when you attack with a non-token vehicle unit, you may tap him to create a spy token. He flips on 6 as just a vanilla unit, but what you want to do is you want to attach him to a vehicle unit as a 5/5 upgrade, and then you can create 2 TIE tokens on the flip. So that's what you really want to do. Otherwise, he becomes that vanilla out on the ground that does nothing besides be a beat stick, which again, that's pretty nice as well. But typically, you want him piloting for that 5/5/5 upgrade to your vehicle. He can attach to any vehicle as well. So if you do have a ground vehicle, you can technically attach to that as well. JTL piloting leaders only need to attach themselves to vehicles, ground and space. So the whole gimmick of the Vader JTL Yellow deck, as we should have seen, is you're just swarming the board with TIE fighters and big bodies, and then you're just going to win the game via overwhelming barrage, surprise strikes, everything like that, and more importantly, winning the game thanks to the very powerful Clone Combat Squadron. It's a bomber that is naturally 4/4 that gets a +1/+1 for each other vehicle unit on your board. So if you have about 3 TIE fighters in the sky, it gets a +3/+3. So typically you want a lot of vehicles in the sky, then put out the bomber, then the combat squadron, then you flip Vader to put on the combat squadron. Not only do you create 2 more TIE fighter tokens to buff up the combat squadron, you also then have the buff from Vader as well, so you make 1 giant vehicle to punch into your opponent. And Thrawn JTL Red is just double tapping those really good when defeated skills. Thrawn's front side effect is when you trigger the when defeated effect of a card, you may tap him to double trigger it, meaning you trigger it again. On his backside, he flips for 6 as well, and on his backside, he does the exact same thing, except you can only use it once per round. So basically, if you want to refill that, you'll have to wait to the next regrouping phase so they can start the next round. But the whole gimmick of the deck is you're just playing a lot of when defeated stuff that then gets a trigger and double tap itself because of a Thrawn. And then we're in red, so we have some aggression, so we have open fires and stuff like that. But also what's really neat about this deck is this person is playing, we've seen this Thrawn player before. They're a big fan of both Thrawns. They've played Thrawn Spark and Thrawn JTL. They have both showcased, by the way. Another big part they do is they use the exploit mechanic in the deck from Twilight of the Republic to kill units on their board to allow them to trigger their when defeated skills a little more naturally than swinging at your opponent and hoping your opponent kills them or they die in attack with your opponent. So that's the gimmick of the game. We got TIE Swarm against double tapping when defeated. So with that said, let's get into game number 1. Game number 1, here we go. Thrawn is going to start off. They're going to start it off with the Instigators. I forget actually what the real name is. It did come out of Secrets of Power. But anyways, we're also going to start off with an A-Wing. So Vader is, of course, set up here to immediately start. That is the new, just generic A-Wings. We're going to swing 2 damage from the Insurgent or Instigators. Or I forget their actual name, or Rioters, or whatever they are. And then we're going to start off with a Outland TIE Vanguard, and we'll immediately be able to give the unit that has 3 costs or less a +1/+1. And then we're immediately going to go for, I believe that's Skrill or Cyril. On the ground. Then we're immediately going to go for Wingman Victor 2. No, it's 3. The one that creates a TIE token on play. So anyways, then we're going to swing the A-Wing does get raid 1, and then we course create a spy token by the attachment of Wingman Victor, I believe 2 or 3. No, I believe it's 2, because I think 3 gives the plus. on play. So anyways, then we tap the Vader because we did swing with a non-token unit. So anyways, oh no, that's the Admiral Ozzel. Never mind, that's the Admiral Ozzel there. I thought that was a Cyril from Secrets of Power. That's the Admiral Ozzel from the Battle of Hoth, that on defeat your opponent has to then discard a card. So anyways, we did swing with a non-vehicle, non-token unit, so we'll be able to immediately create TIE token. So we're going to exploit the Dooku here, and then of course we can exploit 2 here, and then reduce the cost for each of the exploit. So that's going to then allow us to immediately utilize the effect of I believe we're probably going that uses the effect of Dooku to kill off the X-wing, and then looks like we may be attempting to double tap. So anyways, when the first card there dies, it creates a spy token. They're just mattering which one they want to trigger the double tap off of Thrawn. So anyways, it looks like we are going to go for Thrawn, but we do need to decide which one we want to double tap. So anyways, it looks like we did double tap Admiral Ozzel to discard 2 cards from our own hand, and now the Outland Vanguard TIE Fighter is going to swing, and then both TIE Fighter are going to swing, and then we're going to go put in the soulless one that is on attack. You may disclose yellow, black, and then you may restand 2 resources. So it's pretty nice. It's a nice disclosure to restand your resources, as long as you, of course, can disclose the required coloration for it. Which, again, not too hard in a yellow strategy, yellow-green strategy, but still, as we see the Dooku coming in, swinging in there for that big damage. But again, we did see what this name of the deck can do, exploiting to allow you to trigger your win defeat skills. We put down a First Order Stormtrooper. We're going to swing another 2 from the Outland Vanguard TIE Fighter. Again, Vader has the ability to tap here to go for, of course, the X-Wing. We're going to swing another 2 damage from the Spy. It doesn't look too good for Thrawn right now, because the Sky is getting a little out of hand very quick, and they're taking a whole amount of bunch of punishment here. But it looks like we're going to go for another exploit of another Dooku. Dooku is going to then trigger his effect, and then we're going to immediately be able to kill those off. And then we're going to double tap the on-death skill of the First Order Stormtrooper to deal 2 indirect damage to our opponent. So 1 indirect damage to kill a TIE Fighter token. And then we're going to be able to swing both TIE Fighter tokens. We did swing with a non-vehicle unit, so we'll be able to create a TIE Fighter token here. Then we're going to go for the Y-Wing, and then we're just going to pass from there. That's not exactly great to see, because there isn't much you can do in this case. We did see a Screeching TIE Fighter, which hilariously enough can hit the Dooku, because the Dooku does actually have a keyword on him that can be removed, but not great to see for the Vader, because really you don't want a Y-Wing to be attaching to it. A 1-3 isn't exactly great, but anyway, so Dooku's going to swing it. Ooh, game is getting very close here, folks. Game is getting close. We're going to go and we're going to flip the Vader, and then we're going to create 2 more type tokens, and then we're going to go for the Ruthless Raider to deal 2 damage to a TIE Fighter, 1 of these standing TIE Fighters, and do 2 damage to the base here. Looks like, standing TIE Fighter. I have no reason why we want to kill any resting TIE Fighters. Anyways, we're going to go Snub Fighter, rest the Spy here, so that we can have a little bit of survivability here. We're going to swing in 6, and then we're going to swing in the 2 TIE tokens, but unfortunately that is not going to be enough here. And game number 1 is going to go to Thrawn JTL. Well, folks, it's time for game number 2. Here we go, folks. Game number 2. Let's go. Let's see what our 2 sides want to start out with here. What are they going to go with? We're going to pay 2. We're going to put out a Wingman Victor 2 on the ground. That's exactly what everyone wants to do. Put the Wingman down on the ground. Anyways, it is a 3 hitting body. It does suck, because typically you don't want to do that. Typically, Vader wants to immediately be able to start creating TIE tokens here by starting off with, of course, Space Unit. And we're going to start with a shuttle from the Spark Rebellion that I can't remember. I think on death it deals damage. Then we're going to go for Victor Leader, but only gets to buff vehicle units, so space units basically. Unfortunately, there isn't much for the buffment of space vehicles right now. There's where you should have actually put the Wingman on, in my opinion. So anyways, we're going to crash out, and then we're going to use the effect of when defeated to then draw 2 draw. So it looks like we're not going to double tap the Thrawn trigger there. We're just going to let that die. I thought it was, but yeah, it may have been draw. I don't know. It's a card I don't really play much of. But anyways, we can go for Director Krennic. Director Krennic allows you to reduce the play cost of all your win-defeated guys by 1 here. And then we're going to be able to put out the win-defeated skill, the Droid Missile Platform. It does come out typically for 3, but thanks to a good old Krennic, it does come out for 2. Which is really nice, because it does have a when defeated, deal 3 indirect damage to your opponent, which is pretty nice here. So anyways, we're going to go for a Frozen Carbon. I just removed that down the board so we don't have to deal with the indirect damage coming in on us if need be here. So we're going to figure out what we want to do. So we're going to trade the OOM Officer into that, and then we're going to be able to trigger the OOM Officer to deal 4 damage to our opponent's base, thanks to it deals 2 damage on death, and then double triggering the effect from Thrawn to deal another 2 damage. As we see the Snub Fighter swing in, we're going to swing another 2 damage from Director Krennic. as well. And then we're going to trigger the Vader to create a high token. Then we're going to go for the Ruthless Raider for 5 because of Director Critic. Immediately deal 2 damage to the base and knock out the TIE Fighter there. That's a really good thing to see there, folks. That's a really good thing to see. Man, talk about exactly getting down to Ruthless Raider 1 turn earlier is pretty nasty. By the way, last turn, I don't even think Thrawn even flipped. Yeah, I don't think the Thrawn player even flipped their Thrawn. If they did, I totally spaced it. But anyways, we're going to go for another Snub Fighter to arrest the Ruthless Raider, and then we're going to show off another Critic effect. Then we're going to put out the Chimera's effect to target a card with a when defeated skill and then be able to trigger it. And then we're going to double tap the triggering here effect. So he targeted the Ruthless Raider, deal 2 damage to the Snub Fighter, and then 2 damage to the base, triggering then Thrawn's effect, because technically Chimera is triggering a when defeated skill, so that does mean the Chimera can then trigger as well. We're going to go for Cat and Mouse to rest down the Director Critic here. Then we're going to put out a First Order Stormtrooper as well. So basically, again, because thanks to the Chimera, we dealt 4 damage to the base, and we're able to kill off a Subfighter. This game is definitely not in the favor of the Vader player at all, as Vader's going to flip here to create 2 TIE token. There goes the flip of Thrawn. Thrawn swinging in his 4 damage. Yes, he's a 4/7. By surprise. I think the other Thrawn from Spark is like a 3/9. For some strange reason, he's a 3/9. Don't ask me why. Fantasy Flight made him a 3/9 here at the start here, but I don't know. But anyways, it doesn't look great for our good player. They did get the clone. The problem is, I do see it. The Clone Combat Squadron is an their hand right there. That is typically the vehicle you want to attach the Vader to because of its effect. So anyways, we're going to go for the Mandalorian to arrest a unit within the exact same arena as it. So we're going to arrest the Ruthless Raider so that we can't get hit by the Ruthless Raider's effect as well, because the Ruthless Raider technically could run into Vader dealing 4 damage and then die, and then allow Thrawn to double trigger its when defeated skill. So anyways, it looks like we're going to go for 4 here. We're going to go for Count Dooku. Again, we're going to exploit. Oh, it really does suck when you exploit that. And it looks like that's just going to be a straight scoop up from the Vader player, because unfortunately there's not really much else they can do at this point, because again, Thrawn can basically double tap the Ruthless Raider effect and kill off one of the TIE Fighter tokens, and then kill off the other TIE Fighter token, killing them both off, and then being able to deal 4 damage to the base. And then they have Thrawn, Director Critic, and the First Order Stormtrooper, not mentioning the Chimera as well, all still standing up on the board state. Not mentioning now our opponent also has to take 3 indirect damage from the droid missile platform. So that's pretty much it. A quick game overall, but again, that's what Thrawn does. It's not technically a full-on control strategy. I think yellow might be more its control, but it still has those control cards. It definitely still has, Power of the Dark Side. It still has, if they were playing it, Power of the Dark Side, no Glory on the Results. It has red in it, so it has aggressive styles that we've seen with like the Dooku, with the Ruthless Raiders, with all the good when defeat skills, stuff like that. Also, of course, would possibly have maybe Daring Raid and Open Fire. But nonetheless, unfortunately, that the Vader player was not able to stabilize the board. And I think that is the one problem that the Vader leader has, is that if you don't stabilize a board presence and your opponent can beat stick you before you can stabilize, or beat stick you out of stabilization, you're pretty much dead. And a great way to do that, just deny your opponent any non-token vehicle units in the sky. TIE Fighters deal you 1 damage. That is all they do. And again, Vader cannot make more TIE Fighters if you're not swinging with a non-token vehicle unit. So yeah, unfortunately, that was just the name of the game. Exploit for the win, I guess. But nonetheless, I want your thoughts, guys, down in the comments on Thrawn JTL Red and Vader JTL Yellow. What are your thoughts on the decks? Thoughts on the gameplay as well? And what are your thoughts on these 2 leaders going into the Lawless Time meta, losing cards from sets 1, 2, and 3? Do you think these leaders will be viable, or do you think they're just going to disappear completely? Let me know all that down in the comments, and while you're commenting, do make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you can notify when my videos go live for you, and we'll see you here next time on Mom Dragons TCG.